Classy now, huh?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's really big time.
I got
Top 45 helmet.
Yeah, how about that?
Well, Mike, you got to break out the old Statue of Liberty. When you got here, was that the first thing on your list? Okay, how am I going to use this play? I want to use it. Or?
No, I mean, yeah, it's obviously a play that, as a spectator, when I was a spectator/alum watching the Fiesta Bowl, obviously it's been a pretty significant moment in the program's history. It was actually kind of fun to call the play a little bit further out and get some more yards on it. We'd worked on it quite a bit throughout the course of spring ball. I think it was like one of the opening plays in the spring game, if I'm not mistaken. And we've come to it a few times throughout the course of being here in practice and scrimmage situations. So the good thing is it was a highly rep play, and like we always say, I mean, just those kinds of plays are great, but they only work if you execute them. And our guys did a very good job of executing them. And in that case, Jay made a guy miss too. But the misdirection part of it was pretty good. The sell on it was really good. Just using Jeremy McNichols as a decoy in that situation was pretty good, especially for considering what Jeremy had already done in the game. So it was set up pretty nicely, and obviously it was a big play for us.
Did you use the same name, or did you give it a new name this time around?
Yeah, so it could be. I think it's been both Statue and Liberty. So we'll have to probably come up with another name when we run it again this week. So.
Speaking of running, and Hart's kind of talked about it a little bit, but you guys had such great variety in terms of the involvement of guys. Was there kind of a method to that madness and conditions and all that stuff potentially?
Yeah, I think it's just when you look back at even our San Diego State game, and you look back at various games throughout the year. I mean, Shane's playing really good football right now, and he's a guy that needs to touch the ball. And I think sometimes Shane's package is the package that we have designed for Shane to get the ball. A lot of times it's not designed get him the football, and I wanted to get some stuff in that game early on to get him to get ball in his hands, guaranteed, not just as part of a progression or not just as an outlet because of something the defense was doing. And then obviously Jeremy too. I mean, Jeremy in the previous week had his first carry went for I think 13 or 14 yards and didn't really come back to give him the ball. Partially because he had an MA on the play that he got 14 yards on. So we concentrated on making his set plays manageable for him, and he did a really good job with it, and obviously played great. I mean, he's an electric guy with the ball in his hands, and then also just getting other guys involved and just takes a little bit off Jay early on in a game, but like we say, we always want to get him going as well, and I felt like we were able to do that effectively.
You show him kind of a little bit of maturity in the way. I mean, you got to be a little patient at times. It seems back there. I don't know.
Are you talking about Jeremy?
Jeremy, yeah.
Yeah, that's something that we, Coach Riddle and Coach Harson really talked to him about, particularly on his touchdown run. That was a scheme that we came to a couple times in that game that was really good for us. And the key to it was the initial patience. It's just patient, let the block set, and then go ahead and hit it. There's other schemes that we have that, he needs to get to the perimeter right now, and that wasn't one of them because it was a pin pull scheme. So he did a good job. The guy's a football player, and he's a guy that you'll take coaching and apply it. And you've seen that, already in a short period of time.
You talk about recreating, reinventing yourself every week on offense and expanding it. Do you feel like you guys are on that track and kind of where you want to be with heading into the crucial part of the season here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is that I think that we want to have the mindset that we're never really where we want to be. And that's kind of I think that's what when talking to the quarterback group is. You're never in a place where you've arrived as an offense, and quite frankly, we have not. We haven't been as good as we can be, but there are some really good performances that we've had both individually and collectively. But I think just as long as we feel like we're improving every week and we're getting guys involved and guys are stepping up and making plays in critical situations for us, we truly take it week to week and don't really think about it in terms of where we're at yet. We'll have a chance to look back at the season when it's all said and done, but. I think the biggest thing is just having that mentality that we certainly are not close to being where we want to be, and we're getting better every week.
What did you think of the second stringers when they went in there? And it seemed like obviously they knew you were going to run the ball. You're not going to pass it up by 50 points, but had a couple fumbles, but you did have a touchdown drive also.
Yeah, it was a mixed bag. I mean that was one thing. That was a big challenge just to the entire group of guys that don't have a chance to play a ton and obviously got a lot of playing time there at the end. I mean. We did some decent stuff up front. The backs ran hard, particularly in a situation where they know we're going to run the football. But we can't have turnovers. We can't take 20-yard sacks. and on that sack play, we had a missed assignment on a route that clearly would have been the primary number one read. So, it was unfortunate that we didn't execute like we wanted to with that group, and that's been a big challenge to him yesterday in our meetings. Is these reps that you get are so dang important. Just for your kind of your future as a going into spring practice, going into this off season. You got to make those reps count, and at times we did, but I expect better.
What are you going to see defensively from Utah State?
The best defense in our conference.
What do they do that makes them so good?
I think that they play extremely hard. They have a good scheme that it's got some similarities to San Diego State. Not the same. Actually, it has a lot of similarities to Stanford on defense. And reminds me quite a bit of what they do, and basing out of a 3-4 personnel. Big edge guys. They're two defensive ends. They're big old guys. Do a good job of setting the edge. I think that they play really hard. They create turnovers. They stop the run. And their back end's I think their back end's playing really well as a whole and creating turnovers. So it's a great challenge for us. Obviously the game carries a lot of magnitude, but I think this is probably one of the best challenges we've had as an offense going into this game. Got a lot of respect for obviously that entire program. My dad coached there about 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and I know what their mentality is. They're a team that very physical. Really want to. They want to set the tone with their front and let their back end get the ball when it's up in the air.
Is there anybody left your dad hasn't coached with or against?
It's a very good question.
Every week.
Yeah, that is the kind of the neat deal about this. Even last week having a chance to go against a bunch of those guys that that had coached at North Dakota State and talking to them before the game and after the game and just talking about the Missouri Valley Conference and all that. So it honestly is really fun for me, and I've always, as a coach's kid, I've always grown up around it and kind of tried to make the most of the opportunities to get to know coaches and pick their brains and you learn a lot.
You've been more vocal than anyone about how good this conference is week in and week out. And here we are going to the last week, and both sides of the division are still up for grabs.
Yep.
Does that just kind of show, I guess, what you were talking about and how here we are the last week and nothing's been decided?
Yeah, I really believe that this conference. In terms of the whatever they are, the Pac-5, Power 5. No, I don't know what the conferences are anymore. I think this is as good as there is out there in terms of the non-power conference teams. I think we'd rival some of the power conference teams, conference programs as well. So this team that we're about to play they have good players, they have good schemes, they have tradition, they have recent success. They went to the Mountain West Championship last year. Just another example of a really good football team on our side of the division, and the other side of the division is highly contested even going into this last week. So it's exciting. It's a good time to be in the Mountain West. It's a competitive time to be in the Mountain West.
Senior day for your quarterback, and you only got 1 year with him. But what are you going to remember about Grant Hedrick, and what would be your message to him going out there on Senior Day?
It's been an absolute so far. We have a lot of football left ahead of us, but it's been a really good time just working with him and seeing his growth and just honestly seeing the confidence that he's gained from kind of getting to the lowest of lows that a quarterback can get to and just bouncing back. I think the number one thing with him is that he's the same today, yesterday, and forever. A guy just doesn't let his highs be too high and his lows be too low. And I'll tell you, just the example that he's set for our young quarterbacks in the room is just I can't express how much that's meant to me. Probably just in terms of character and as a person, probably one of the most enjoyable young men I've ever had a chance to coach with, or even as a player had a chance to play alongside. He's a special young man. I really am proud of how he's been playing and how he's composed himself on and off the field.
We had a chance to talk with Matt Miller today for the first time since his college football career come to an end. Still like seeing a guy walk through the halls with 244 career catches, more than any other player in Boise State history, but not be available yet invested.
Yeah, I think the thing for him too is just he has a very similar approach to the game of football and his same approach to life that Grant does. The two of them are very consistent human beings and tough human beings. And I think for Matt, the thing I've just respected so much from him and out of him is that he is so bought into what's going on here at Boise State and loves this program with everything that he has. Loves that receiver group. Cares about them a ton. Has been helping those guys out a ton. And he even today, he has great input. what we do offensively. He watches the film, he studies it, and he's such a cerebral young man. I mean, he's very intelligent and has sees things, sees coverages that have helped us out throughout the course of the year. And I just, in terms of just being dealt a whole bunch of adversity in your last year playing college football, I don't think that you could have asked for a guy like that that's a true leader on this team to respond any better.
Coach, talking about Utah State, also talking about unique family situations, you kind of combine that with those guys being linebackers,
Yeah.
two brothers, and I know Harson talked about them a little bit. It's what stands out about those two, and that's probably a pretty cool situation for them to be able to play right next to each other.
Great football players. They play the game the way it's supposed to be played, and they're very athletic and very opportunistic. You tell they're leaders on that group. It's pretty remarkable to have brothers that are playing together, alongside each other. They actually have different skill sets too. I mean, there's something to be had there in terms of us and accepting that challenge. Those two players are just unbelievably productive players, and they find the football. They find they find ball carriers and quarterbacks in the backfield. I mean, you got the sack leader in the conference or close to it. Shoot, I think both those guys are in the top 5 in the conference in terms of sacks. And then you got the forced fumble leader, which is Nick, 41. Those guys are they really play the game the way it's supposed to be played, and I think that's I think those two guys really represent what the Utah State program's been about since Coach Gary Anderson was there. Obviously with Coach Wells, I mean, just tough, physical, hard-nosed football players that love playing the game, and those guys embody that.
It's hard to find a game with more importance, except for the teams going for the Final Four in the championship. You got 2 teams on 6-game win streaks, conference championship game on the line, New Year's Bowl might be on the line. So it's pretty hard to find a game anywhere in the country with more on the line than this one.
It is, and I think for us is we understand that and we know that. I've had the privilege of kind of going through the same situation the last 2 years at Stanford. Playing both times, playing the last game of the year against really good opponents. Really knowing that we had to win to get into the Pac-12 championship game. And the one thing I think that we brought to the table in that is that we approached it as a big game, obviously, and we brought our best, but we trusted the process and we trusted what we've done throughout the course of the year to get ourselves in that position. And that's that's going to be our mindset, going forward. Is we're gonna do everything we can to prepare and win this football game. But at the end of the day, we're going to trust our process that led us to get into this position. And I think that you got to do that, or else the moment might get too big for you or your players.
Zach Vigil said before the season that he wasn't very happy with the way they played against Jay last year. Yeah, he got 100 yards on him. They weren't very happy about that. What kind of challenge is Jay going to have this week and that offensive line facing that run defense?
Yeah, I think regardless of what was said in the offseason, I mean, the reality is those guys are playing really good football. But best rush defense in our conference, one of the best in the country. Very physical, big, stout, and obviously they got a chip on their shoulder about the way that the game went last year. But we all know that this is a new team for us this year. It's a new team for them as well. So watching the game last year, provide a little insight. But for the most part, I mean, we got 2 new football teams that are squaring off, and I think it's a great matchup of a really good physical, stout rush defense and pass defense for that matter against an offense that prides itself on being able to run the football. So it's going to be a great matchup, and really can't wait to see how it unfolds. But we're definitely planning to bring our best and give them a great matchup up front.
That's good. All right, thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Congrats to your pops.
What's that?
The rest of your pops.
I know. Yeah, I'm
1-11 to the